All right, let's get started here. We're going to use some math to figure out and check the consensus rankings if they add up or not. Don't worry, you're not going to have to do any of the math. I've done it all for you. So we're going to take the weekly fantasy points per week for each team, right? Combined. We're combining the running backs and putting them in for how much they scored in fantasy each week, right? Well, here example, you can see that Arizona week 1, this is last year, James Conner and Troy Benson scored this much, and we put it in that cell. It's pretty easy. We do that for every team and every week. Now, I didn't have to do that. I have a computer to do that for me. I wrote a program to do this, but what we're going to get to, there's my little program I wrote. It's in Python. Learn Python. It's pretty nice, and I use some SQL there too. But hey, so what we get here is the average per team per week, how much they score in fantasy, right? For each week on a team, right? So we're gonna use that data to compare against the rankings. But here no doubt you figure out San Francisco's number one here at 33.4 a week. They're getting Detroit's 32. These are the combined, not just the one running back here. Atlanta, you can see here Pittsburgh's a perfect example of the combined, and these two added up that week, or well, each week, and they average this much. So we've got how much each team averages for the week at fantasy, or we can use that to progress over the years, right? And New England has a tag team going there too, pretty high on the list, right? A lot. So, hey, we did a running back targets video, right? Well, in that, we learned that New Orleans here look at that. Gave 58 less passes to their running backs than year over year since Kellen Moore showed up, right? Well, that's going to reflect right here. You can see they're the last place team in how much running back points we're getting each week, right? That's why this is important, right? Here's a little chart example. You can see San Francisco well outscored New Orleans in red each week by wide margin. So we're getting more not just per running back, but by team. We're getting more fantasy points, obviously, at running back each week out of San Francisco than we are New Orleans, right? So, anyway, that Kellen Moore really brought New Orleans down. Anyway, so we have it here. Now, I can use this to find out percentage of the total week. This number's important here. You can see here I use it, this total week points. So anyway, so I can figure out a ratio, right? Now, there's going to be football. Just stick with me. And we're going to use this ratio to do the rankings too. We're going to figure out the rankings. You can see here J.K. Dobbins and these. You got 3 of them here ranked here for Denver. So I've combined the ranking. I did a program to do this too. Use Python, guys. Percentage of the pie, right? So we're going to see how much each team gets of the total rankings, right? Just similar to how we did with the fantasy points. Well, here's an end product for you. We find out that here, number 1 on the list is Las Vegas, right? Difference of 8. They're way overranked by the math. Here it says, well, not just that Jeanty finished, they've got him ranked 8th, yet he finished 11th, and they've got Washington, but it's the combined and not just Washington, whoever the other teammate was last year. This is Zamir White. But anyway, this is flagging that Ashton Jeanty is too high priced here. All right. So, hey, they're scoring more than what the rankers are giving them credit more than what they should. Hit subscribe if you're following. Or give me a like, I mean. Hey, this is the real reason I used this anyway, was to figure out Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. This is the reason I set out to do this, is thinking, well, gosh, one of these have to be rated too high or too low. Well, it comes to find out they're both rated too high. Now, I don't know which one. Maybe you got to figure out which one. But hey, either Blake Corum's rated too high or Kyren Williams. It might be Kyren Williams if they're going to do that true 50-50 share. But so this ranking of 13 might end up being just a little tad high. The math shows, or Blake Corum. You have to figure out the percentage on your own. This is doing it by team, but we see that the Rams are one of the teams that are ranked too high. right? And, here's another one here, the Chargers. Hey, you can look right here just in Hampton. They've got him ranked ninth. He finished 35th last year. Keaton Mitchell's thrown in, Vidal. They're talking about sharing there. Hey, it's no doubt, but I'm going to keep a tab and I'll go through all those findings here at the end. But Omarion Hampton probably ranked too high, is what it's saying here, right? Or take out Mitchell or Vidal. You can't have both of them in the rankings. You're taking up too much of the pie for the rankings for that team and how much they score, right? That's what the whole point we're getting to here. And here's, of course, Kansas City's next on the list. It's probably Kenneth Walker's ranked way too high. They got him at 10th. He finished 22nd. It was a different team, but hey, by the points that the Kansas City's getting out of the running back, we have to factor that in too. And Emmett Johnson's showing up in the rankings now. So Kansas City's too high. Could be that Kenneth Walker's probably too high there too. I'll give my findings at the end, I guess, and summarize. But we've got New Orleans here. We saw that they're one of the last places in scoring in fantasy point production. They're too high. They want to get Kamara in there and get him ranked because he might get some. Hey, either Travis Etienne's too high or Alvin Kamara's too high. According to the math, they've got too much percentage of the rankings there, right? So we got a problem there, and in Philadelphia, we got a little problem here too, right? It's probably, you can see here, they've got him ranked 11th. He finished 14th. Tank Bigsby getting in there, 55th. That maybe takes a little, I don't know, but yes, the team's going to improve. And then you can wipe this all away with, but Philadelphia's going to improve. Okay. But you're banking that in. The math says, no, we're a little too high, right? So, and that's the same here with Arizona. Now you're all going to drop Love just a little bit too because of the injury. But Algiers, right? These two combined are way too high in points for what Arizona was getting as the percentage of the rankings. So you can see either Algier needs to come down, he needs to come up just a little bit, and maybe Love down just a couple of spots. Is what it's going to end up being in the math here. And we've got another one, Josh Jacobs, too high. And now, this one's going to be probably the Kenneth Gainwell's, even though he's only ranked 37th and Bucky's 22, it's probably going to be the Gainwell's too high because he's not going to get all that receiving like he did in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was just throwing the running back every time. Well, Tampa don't do that as much. So it's probably going to be Gainwell too high here, and Bucky maybe just a little high, but hey, it's probably more Gainwell than him. So, but they're flagged too high, and I'll do one. It looks like we got one more here, Chicago. All right, Chicago. It's probably Monangai, maybe just a little high, because hey, look, Swift finished 15th. They've got him ranked 20th, so he's underwater there a little bit, and with Monangai possibly hurt a little bit here. It would be Swift that doesn't, it'd probably go up a little bit. Malungai come down a little bit on this ranking. And maybe they'll do that after this injury, but hey, they haven't done it yet, so hey. And all right, now we're going to switch it around. This is a good way. So that's a lot of the ones flagging too. Here is like, well, now you can't get Christian McCaffrey much higher than 6th. Well, they could put him 5th. But of course, the injuries play in there. But what this is really telling us is, hey, either Jordan James or Black need to be ranked. As a team, they're getting way shafted here. Too much. So either Jordan James, who is probably going to be him. I think Black's hurt a little bit, but Jordan James, they're both dinged up. Everyone's dinged up. But we got to get either Black or James on the rankings, right? And we need to know which one and get them on there, right? And same with Detroit. Right? They do put Pacheco down here at 56. I wouldn't trust him at all. We need to find another backup running back. Gibbs can't put any higher. Right? He's high. But what it's saying here is one of these guys need to be ranked, and Pacheco is, but he needs to be ranked higher for the Detroit points. Or let's find another one in Detroit. What's the moral of that story? I don't know which one. And Baltimore. So, hey, well, yeah, look, they've got him 12th. He finished 8th. So Derrick Henry's too low. He needs to be ranked higher than what he is right now. And they got to get Justice Hill on here. My gosh, they're way underwater on Baltimore. He should be ranked. I mean, he's better than the 60th player. Come on. That's one of the high scoring teams. Or Randall. I don't know. I mean, who are you going to put in there? But hey, someone needs to be put in there. Same with Dallas. Right? Hey, Javonte Williams, I argue he's too low. He finished 16th or finished 12th. They got him ranked 16th. So feel safe in taking him. And plus, they got to get one of these other backups, find the backup and get him on there ranked because we got to, he's part of Dallas's pie. Right? Hey, they score pretty good for them. Right? And Miami. So Achane finished, he's a little bit underwater there, but hey, it's the backup deal for Miami too. I mean, we could maybe try to put Achane one higher. I argue he should be. I have him a little higher, but the math says so. But hey, we got to get one of these backups in there too. Otherwise, it's not level. You know what I'm saying? So, and same with here. Atlanta, we got all kinds of running back points, one of the tops. But can't go higher than 2 on him. So it's probably this Robinson needs to be either higher than 58th. Right? Hey, move him up. Tyler Algier was scoring pretty good last year. And if this is the same, position here, he should be up. So Brian Robinson's ranked too low. So there's one. And how about Buffalo? Buffalo's in here too in the mix. James Cook here, where you can't really go too much higher on him. It's the backups here. If Ty Johnson comes up healthy, I would think it's him more than Ray Davis. They got Ray Davis ranked 57th, but look out for Ty Johnson or Ray Davis, but one of them needs to be ranked higher if we get any clarity on who the backup is. Now, that might be part of this too, is the unclear backup stuff. They just throw them out and don't put them in there. But hey, they should be in there higher than a regular person. Okay, here's Seattle. Jerian Price, I like him. Get on him. If Matt says he's too low, or Helani is too low, it's probably both. Get him on there. But Seattle says too low, so I'll come back and give you what I got at the end here. But and Rico, I've been arguing this from the beginning that Pittsburgh running backs are way too low. Finished 29th. Or finished 18th, ranked 29th, finished 17th, ranked 31st. They're both underwater. And don't say, oh, well, Rico was on another team. No. Gainwell scored 16th in finish. So these both are underwater here. Get on them Pittsburgh ones, right? So, get that out of there. All right, so next one. Jets. I got the Jets up next. They're too low. So it's probably one of these backups should be higher. It's probably going to be Braylon Allen, too, with his injury. So Braylon Allen's going to be jumping up. That'll probably get taken care of in the next week when consensus moves him up. And last one is Minnesota here. That, hey, what? They're too underwater, too. I mean, hey, it's hard to pick which one's going to be, and maybe that's why it is. But they're a little underwater, so these both are should be ranked just a little higher or whoever it is, right? All right, let's sum this up. All right, it's that time. I need to fill my shorts. Get a short, make a short out of this. Warning, this is a rapid repeat. Fantasy AI with math says the running backs are too lowly ranked. Brian Robinson Jr., 58th. Tyler Algier scored a lot out of that position last year. Ty Johnson ranked too low for the backup there. How about Isaiah Pacheco? I don't really like him, but the Detroit backup is way too low in the rankings. Jordan James too low in the rankings. George Helani, he's going to be the darling of the waiver wire that first week. If you guys don't get on him, George Helani, too low. Darian Price is too low. Get out there and grab a hold of him. Derrick Henry ranked 12th, too low. Derrick Henry needs to be ranked higher. Come find out why. The math. I did. Look at the long. That explains why. Warren and Rico Dowdell, 2 Pittsburgh running backs, ranked way too low. Aaron Rodgers just dumps off those passes to those guys. Javonte Williams with Dallas ranked way too low. Get out and get him too. Fantasy AI with players ranked too high. The math says so. Kyrene Williams is ranked 13th. They got him a little high according to the math. Right? Same with Barkley. He's ranked 11th. I mean, I like these guys, but the math says they're a little high. Come check out the long to figure out, see how the math was calculated. Genty, ranked 8th, says too high on him. Even at 8. Jeremiah Love, well, ankle included, but he's ranked too high at 15, it says. This is how much based on points that he scored last year, the team points. Kyle Monagai, 36, ranked too high. Josh Jacobs, possible suspension. He's ranked too high according to the math. Feel good about it. The math says he's too high. ETN. Kellen Moore doesn't do good for running backs down there in St. No, he's too high. Kenneth Gainwell, he ain't going to get them dump downs he was in Pittsburgh. Too high. Hampton, too high. Too many teammates, too sharing. And Kenneth Walker, hey, too high on him too. Come see why.